There is something happening to you that most people will never experience. Not because they are less intelligent, not because they are less worthy, but because they have not yet reached the threshold you are standing at right now. The threshold where the surface of reality begins to crack, where the story you were handed about what exists, what is solid, what is real, begins to show the seams. And once you see the seams, you cannot unsee them. Once you feel the thinness of the surface, you cannot pretend it has weight again. You are here because something shifted. Maybe it happened suddenly, like a light switching on in a room you did not know existed. Maybe it happened slowly, like water finding its way through stone, one drop at a time, until one day you looked around at the life you were living, the world you were navigating, the reality everyone around you was treating as absolute and undeniable, and something in you said, "This is not all there is. This cannot be all there is." That feeling is not confusion. It is not a symptom of something wrong with you. It is the first accurate perception you may have had in a very long time. Because here is what no one tells you about reality. Here is the layer beneath the explanation you were given. The world you have been navigating, the one made of solid objects and fixed rules and settled facts and predictable outcomes, is not the ground floor of existence. It is the ceiling. It is the topmost, thinnest, most surface-level expression of something that goes down so much further than anyone standing on the surface can see. And you have begun to look down. What I want to do in this transmission is take you through the layers. Not metaphorically, not poetically. Layer by layer, with the precision of someone who has already descended and come back up to show you the path. We are going to start at the surface, at the version of reality most people never question, and we are going to peel it back. And beneath it, we are going to find another layer, and we are going to peel that back too. And we are going to keep going until we reach the place where quantum mechanics and ancient wisdom point at the same thing, using different languages from different centuries, arriving at the same impossible and liberating conclusion. Nothing is real in the way you were told it was real, and that changes everything. Let us begin at the surface, the version of reality you were handed before you were old enough to question it. You were born into a world that had already decided what it was. Objects were solid. Time moved in one direction. Cause preceded effect. What you could see and touch and measure was what existed. What you could not see or touch or measure was imagination, or religion, or wishful thinking, or the province of people who had not yet caught up with the rational modern understanding of how things work. This was not presented to you as a theory. It was presented to you as the floor, the ground itself, the unquestionable foundation beneath everything you would ever think or do or experience. And you learned it the way children learn everything. Not through argument, not through evidence, through repetition, through the accumulated weight of everyone around you treating it as obvious, through the social cost of questioning it, through the educational systems that rewarded you for accepting it and looked at you strangely when you pushed beneath it. You learned that the chair you sat on was solid, that the table was solid, that your body was solid, that the distance between you and the wall across the room was a fixed, measurable, unchanging fact, that the past was locked and the future was uncertain, and the present was the only real thing, and even that was slipping away before you could hold it. You learned that your thoughts were private events that happened inside your skull and had no relationship to the world outside your skull, except through the medium of your actions. That consciousness was a product of the brain, like heat is a product of fire, that when the brain stopped, consciousness stopped. That you were, at the most fundamental level, a biological machine navigating a physical universe that did not care about you, did not respond to you, did not know you existed. This is the surface. This is the story. And for most people, this is where it ends. They live their entire lives on this surface, treating it as bedrock, never knowing that beneath it there is something so different, so strange, so alive with possibility that if they could see it for even one moment, the surface version would become transparently thin. A film stretched over something infinite. Consider what that means. An entire civilization built on a story about what is real. Not because the story was examined and found to be true, but because the story was repeated often enough, by enough people, with enough collective certainty, that questioning it stopped feeling like inquiry and started feeling like madness. The surface story became the definition of sanity, and anything that pointed beneath it became, by default, the definition of delusion. But the story has a problem, and the problem is not philosophical, it is scientific, it is mathematical, it is written in the equations that the 20th century produced when it finally turned its instruments not outward at the stars, but inward at the structure of matter itself. And what those equations revealed is that the surface story, the one about solid objects and fixed facts, and a universe that does not care about you, is not just incomplete. It is precisely, measurably, experimentally wrong at the most fundamental level of what it describes. But there is a layer beneath that, and this is where things get interesting. In the early 20th century, a group of physicists began doing something that no one had done before. They stopped looking at reality from the outside and started looking at what reality was made of from the inside. They took matter, the supposedly solid, fixed, reliable matter that the surface version of reality was built on, and they looked at what it was actually composed of. And what they found should have collapsed the surface story entirely. They found that matter, at its most fundamental level, is not solid. It is not fixed. It is not reliably located in one place. It is not, in any meaningful sense, the kind of thing that the surface story said it was. At the quantum level, the level of particles smaller than atoms, matter does not behave like tiny solid objects bouncing off each other in predictable ways. It behaves like something that exists in multiple states simultaneously until the moment it is observed. It behaves like something that can be in two places at once. It behaves like something that responds to the act of being looked at. It behaves like something that is, in the most precise scientific language available, not fully real until it is measured. This is not philosophy. This is not poetry. This is what the equations say. This is what the experiments show. This is what quantum mechanics, the most successful and precisely verified theory in the history of science, found beneath the surface of matter. The thing you were told was solid is mostly empty space threaded through with probability fields. The thing you were told was fixed is a superposition of possible states that collapses into one state only when observed. The thing you were told was independent of you. The universe that did not know you existed turns out to behave differently depending on whether or not it is being watched. Let that land for a moment. Let it actually land. The universe behaves differently when it is being observed. This is called the observer effect. And it is not a quirk, not a footnote, not a minor technical detail that physicists argue about in the margins. It is one of the most consistently replicated findings in all of science. When a quantum particle is not being measured, it exists as a wave of probability, spread across multiple possible locations, multiple possible states, all of them equally real, none of them definite. The moment a measurement is made, the moment something interacts with the particle in a way that constitutes observation, the wave function collapses. The probability cloud resolves into a single definite outcome. The act of looking changes what is there to be seen. Think about what that sentence actually means, not as a poetic statement, as a precise scientific description of how matter behaves at the level from which all matter is constructed. The act of looking changes what is there to be seen. The observer is not a passive recorder of a reality that exists independently and completely before anyone looks at it. The observer is a participant in the process by which possibility becomes actuality, by which the infinite becomes the specific, by which the wave becomes the particle. This is not a marginal finding. This is not a disputed interpretation. The double-slit experiment, which has been performed thousands of times in laboratories around the world with extraordinary precision, demonstrates this with absolute clarity. When particles are fired through two slits, without anyone measuring which slit they go through, they behave like waves, creating an interference pattern on the screen behind. When a detector is placed to observe which slit each particle passes through, the interference pattern disappears. The particles behave like particles instead of waves. The act of measurement, the act of observation, changes the fundamental behavior of the thing being observed. The surface story said that the world exists independently of you, and that your job is simply to perceive it accurately. The quantum layer beneath the surface says that what the world is depends, in part, on the act of perception itself. Now, the surface version of physics, the classical Newtonian physics that most people were taught in school, has a response to this. It says, yes, but this only applies at the quantum level. At the scale of everyday objects, at the scale of chairs and tables and bodies and planets, quantum effects average out. The world at the human scale is still solid, still predictable, still independent of observation. And here is where we peel back another layer. because that response is true in a very narrow technical sense, and it conceals something much more important. The averaging out of quantum effects does not mean the quantum reality disappears. It means the quantum reality becomes the hidden layer beneath the surface reality. The solid chair you sit in is still made entirely of quantum particles. The solidity you feel is not the absence of quantum uncertainty. It is the emergent surface expression of quantum uncertainty at scale. The chair is not solid in the way you feel it to be solid. What you feel as solidity is the electromagnetic repulsion between the electrons in the chair and the electrons in your body. You are not touching the chair. You have never touched anything in your life. You have felt the electromagnetic field of every object you have ever reached for, and your nervous system has translated that field into the sensation of contact. The surface is a translation. The depth is what is actually there, and what is actually there beneath the translation, beneath the sensation of solidity and fixedness and reliable physical contact, is a field of interacting probabilities. A dynamic, constantly fluctuating, never fully resolved dance of quantum possibilities that your nervous system and your brain and the story you were given about reality have collaborated to render as a stable, solid, predictable world of objects. You did not perceive reality. You received a translation of reality, a translation calibrated for survival at the surface level, a translation so complete and so seamless that it felt like direct perception. But the translation is not the thing itself. The map is not the territory. And the territory, when you descend to the quantum level, is nothing like the map. And there is a layer beneath even that. Because the question that quantum mechanics raises, and then, in most classrooms, quietly sets aside, is the question of what observation actually means. When physicists say that the act of measurement collapses the wave function, they mean that some interaction with the particle causes the probability cloud to resolve. But what counts as an interaction? What counts as measurement? Does it require a conscious observer? Does it require a mind? This is the measurement problem, and it is one of the most contested, most profound, most carefully avoided questions in all of physics. Because if you follow the logic of quantum mechanics all the way to its edge, you arrive at a place where consciousness and reality are not separate things, where the observer is not a passive recorder of what is already there, but a participant in the creation of what becomes definite. Some of the greatest physicists in history have said exactly this, not as a spiritual position, as a scientific conclusion drawn from the mathematics. Niels Bohr, one of the founders of quantum mechanics, said that it is wrong to think that the task of physics is to find out how nature is. Physics concerns what we can say about nature. The emphasis on what we can say, not what is there independent of us. What we can say, which is to say, what we can observe, which is to say, what we participate in bringing into definition. John Wheeler, one of the most rigorous and creative physicists of the 20th century, went further. he proposed what he called the participatory universe. The idea that the universe is not a machine running independently of observers, but a self-excited circuit in which observers are necessary for the universe to exist in any definite form at all. He said that we are not simply bystanders on a cosmic stage, we are shapers of that stage. He went further still, suggesting that not only do observers participate in creating the present, but through a process he called delayed choice, the act of observation in the present can determine what the past was. That the universe, in some sense, requires observers in order to have a history at all. Werner Heisenberg, who gave us the uncertainty principle, said that the atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities rather than one of things or facts. Potentialities, possibilities, not things, not facts. Erwin Schrödinger, who gave us the wave function itself, wrote that consciousness cannot be accounted for in physical terms, for consciousness is absolutely fundamental. It cannot be accounted for in terms of anything else. This from the man whose mathematics described the wave of probability, that is the deepest physical description of matter we have. He was saying that the thing doing the observing, the consciousness that collapses the wave function, is not itself a product of the physical world. It is the ground beneath the physical world. This is what is beneath the surface of matter. Not more matter, not smaller matter, but a field of infinite possibility that resolves into specific reality through the act of observation. And at the center of that act of observation is something that physics can describe the effects of, but cannot, from within its own framework, fully explain. Something that the ancient traditions had a great deal to say about. Something that is, in the end, the deepest layer this transmission is pointing toward. And here is where the veil lifts, to reveal something that most people in the modern world have been conditioned to dismiss. Because this is not a new discovery. This is an ancient map. Thousands of years before quantum mechanics existed as a science, before particle accelerators and wave functions and probability amplitudes, the wisdom traditions of the ancient world were describing something that sounds remarkably, precisely, disturbingly like what quantum physics found beneath the surface of matter. The Hindu concept of Maya is usually translated as illusion, and that translation, while not wrong, conceals the depth of what the concept actually points to. Maya does not mean that the world does not exist. It means that the world as it appears to ordinary perception is not the deepest level of what is real. The surface appearance, what you see with the eyes, what you touch with the hands, what you measure with instruments, is real in the way that a dream is real while you are dreaming it. It has its own internal consistency. It follows its own rules. But it is not the ground floor of existence. It is a projection, an expression, a surface layer of something that cannot be seen with the eyes or touched with the hands. Beneath Maya is Brahman, the undivided, undifferentiated, infinite ground of being from which all apparent things arise, the field of pure potentiality from which specific forms emerge, the ocean beneath the waves. Does that sound familiar? a field of infinite potentiality from which specific forms emerge through a process of resolution. It should, because that is also what quantum mechanics describes beneath the surface of matter. The Vedic sages were not guessing. They were not engaging in poetic metaphor. They were reporting the results of a different kind of investigation, not the investigation of instruments and equations, but the investigation of consciousness turned inward on itself. What they found, through meditation, through sustained attention, through the systematic exploration of awareness itself, was a description of reality that matches, with uncomfortable precision, what physics found by looking outward through microscopes and particle accelerators thousands of years later. Both arrived at the same hidden layer, the layer beneath the solid world, the layer of pure potentiality, the layer where nothing is fixed until it is observed. The Buddhist concept of sunyata, often translated as emptiness, points to the same hidden layer from a different angle. Sunyata does not mean that things do not exist. It means that things do not exist independently, from their own side, as fixed, self-contained, solid objects with inherent existence. Everything that appears to exist does so in dependence on other things, in dependence on the conditions that allow it to appear, in dependence on the mind that perceives it. Nothing has the kind of solid, independent, self-sufficient existence that the surface story of reality assumes. This is what the Buddha was pointing to when he said that form is emptiness and emptiness is form. Not that the world is nothing, but that what appears as form is not solid in the way it appears. Beneath the form is emptiness, and from that emptiness, form arises. The wave from the ocean, the specific from the infinite. And here is what makes the Buddhist formulation so precise. It does not say that the form is false and only the emptiness is real. It says both at once. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The surface and the depth are not two separate realities. They are two aspects of the same reality, perceived from different layers of awareness. The surface dweller sees only the form. The depth perceiver sees the emptiness within the form, and the form arising from the emptiness simultaneously. Both are true, but only one of them is the whole truth. The Taoists called the hidden layer the Tao, the unnameable ground beneath all named things, the source that cannot be grasped because grasping is itself a surface activity. The Tao Te Ching opens with this: the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The first thing it tells you is that the thing it is pointing to cannot be captured at the surface level. It is beneath the level where names and definitions operate. And yet the Tao Te Ching spends 81 chapters pointing toward it anyway, not because it can be described directly, but because the pointing itself, if done with sufficient precision, can orient the awareness in the direction of the depth, can create a kind of internal pressure that drives the awareness downward, layer by layer, until the thing that cannot be named is encountered directly. This is what the ancient wisdom traditions were doing, not describing the depth in terms that could be understood from the surface, creating a kind of gravitational pull toward the depth that, if followed, would deliver the seeker to the layer where direct experience was possible. The Hermetic tradition, which threaded through ancient Egypt and Greece and into the esoteric streams of Western thought, described what they called the All, the infinite mind in which all of reality exists as thought. The Kabbalion, which synthesized Hermetic principles, states, "The All is mind, the universe is mental," not as a metaphor, as a description of the fundamental nature of what is beneath the surface of matter. And then there is the Kabbalah, the mystical tradition within Judaism, which describes the Ein Sof, the infinite without limit, as the ground beneath all manifest reality. The Kabbalists described a process of emanation through which the infinite becomes the finite, through which the undifferentiated becomes the differentiated, through which the field of pure potentiality resolves into the specific world of experience. They map the layers between the infinite ground and the surface world with extraordinary precision, giving each layer a name, a quality, a function. Different languages, different centuries, different cultures, different methodologies. The same hidden layer. The surface tells you that reality is solid, fixed, independent of you, and fully knowable through measurement. The depth tells you something completely different. Reality is a field of infinite possibility that resolves into specific experience through a process that involves awareness. The solid world is the surface expression of something that is, at its core, more like mind than matter. And you are not a passenger in this process. You are a participant. That is not belief. That is what quantum mechanics found beneath the surface of matter. And it is what the ancient ones mapped before instruments existed. If what we have uncovered here resonates with something you have always sensed was present beneath the surface of your own experience, there is a full map of this hidden territory available to you. Beneath the veil takes you through all 5 layers we are tracing here, and the ones this video has not yet reached, from the consensus surface down through the quantum stratum, all the way to the original frequency, with practices at each depth designed to shift your perception permanently. You will find it in the description below. If this transmission is reaching a layer in you that you want to go deeper into, like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we go further every time and you will want to be here for what comes next. But there is a layer beneath even that. Because knowing this intellectually, understanding it as an idea, is still operating at the surface level of the insight. The layer beneath the knowing is the experiencing. And the layer beneath the experiencing is what changes everything. Let me tell you about a man named Elias. Elias lived in a city that had been built on the ruins of an older city. Everyone in the city knew this in the abstract way that people know historical facts. They had learned it in school. They had seen it mentioned on plaques attached to buildings. But the ruins were underground, buried beneath the foundations of the modern city. And so they were, for all practical purposes, invisible. The city above was what was real. The city above was what people navigated, what they built their lives around, what they treated as the actual world. Elias was an architect. He spent his days designing surfaces, beautiful surfaces, functional surfaces, surfaces that people would move through and live inside and never think about too deeply. He was good at it. He was recognized for it. He was, by every surface measure of success, successful. And then, one day, during a construction project in the oldest part of the city, the ground opened. Not dramatically, not catastrophically, just a section of pavement, weakened by age, and undermined by something no one had expected, that gave way to reveal a void beneath it. And in that void, visible through the gap in the surface, were walls. Ancient walls, stone cut and fitted with a precision that should not have been possible with the tools available at the time. A floor of a different material, smoother and darker than anything in the modern city. The corner of a room that had been sealed beneath the surface for centuries. Elias was the one who climbed down. What he found beneath the surface of his city was not just ruins. It was an entire civilization that had understood something his city had forgotten. The architecture was oriented differently, not toward the street grid of the modern city, but toward something else, something astronomical. The angles of the walls, the placement of the openings, the geometry of the rooms, all of it was calibrated to something larger than the city itself, to the movement of stars, to the cycle of seasons, to a relationship between the built world and the cosmos that the modern city, in its surface efficiency, had completely lost. He spent years below ground after that, not abandoning his work above, but always returning, always going deeper, always finding that the layer beneath the surface of his city contained more wisdom, more precision, more intentionality than the surface that had been built over it. The deeper he went, the more he understood that what had been buried was not simply older, it was more complete. The civilization beneath the surface had not been primitive. It had been oriented differently, oriented not toward the horizontal surface of human commerce and convenience, but toward the vertical axis of depth, toward the relationship between the visible world and the invisible reality that the visible world was built upon. They had not forgotten the depth. They had built their entire civilization around it. And here is what changed for Elias when he finally came back up, when he returned to the surface city with the full knowledge of what was beneath it. The surface did not disappear. The streets were still there. The buildings were still there. The people were still navigating the surface in the way they always had. But Elias could no longer see the surface as the whole story. Every street he walked was now a street above something. Every building was now a structure built over something. The surface was still real, but it was no longer the deepest thing he knew about where he was standing. He became a different kind of architect after that. Not one who designed surfaces that concealed the depth, but one who designed surfaces that expressed the depth, that allowed people moving through his buildings to sense, even without knowing why, that there was something beneath the visible structure, something older, something more intentional, something that the surface was not hiding but pointing toward. And you have been living in the city above, walking the streets of the surface reality, building your life on foundations that were handed to you before you were old enough to examine them. And some crack in the pavement, some moment where the surface gave way, has shown you the void beneath it, has let you see, even briefly, that there is something down there, something older, something more real than the surface. You are Elias, and you have already begun to climb down. What was your crack in the pavement? What was the moment a layer of your reality revealed itself as thinner than you believed? Drop it in the comments below, just the essence of it. One sentence if you can, because the people watching this alongside you need to know they are not alone in what they have seen. Now let us go deeper, because the layer beneath the ancient wisdom and the quantum physics, the layer that both of them are pointing toward, but that neither of them, on their own, fully reveals, is the layer about you specifically, about what you are, about what your awareness actually is and what it is capable of. The surface version of you is the one that was constructed through the process of growing up in a world that had already decided what was real. The surface version of you has a name, a history, a set of preferences and fears and habits and identities that were assembled through experience and conditioning and the accumulated weight of other people's beliefs about who you are and what is possible for you. This surface version of you is real. It is not nothing, but it is the thinnest layer of what you actually are. Beneath the constructed self, beneath the personality and the history and the beliefs, there is something that was present before all of that was assembled. Something that has been watching the construction of the surface self from a position that is not inside the construction. Something that knows the difference between what you are and what you have been told you are. This is what various traditions have called the witness, the higher self, pure awareness, the Atman, the Buddha nature, the true self. And it is not a spiritual concept in the sense of being separate from the physical world. It is the observer that quantum mechanics cannot fully account for. It is the thing that, when you look at a quantum particle, causes the wave function to collapse. It is the awareness that the universe, according to Wheeler's participatory principle, requires in order to become definite at all. You are not a biological machine that happens to have consciousness. You are consciousness that has assembled a biological machine as a vehicle for navigating the surface layer of a reality that you, at a deeper level, participate in creating. This is where the veil lifts. This is the layer that changes everything. Because if this is true, if awareness is not a product of the physical world, but a participant in the creation of the physical world, then the relationship between you and reality is not what the surface story said it was. You are not a passive observer of a fixed world. You are an active participant in a world that is, at its deepest level, responsive to observation, responsive to awareness, responsive to you. This does not mean that you can think a thought and a car will appear in your driveway. That is the surface level misunderstanding of a deep level truth. The relationship between consciousness and reality is not like a vending machine where you input a desire and receive a product. It is more like the relationship between the ocean and the wave. You do not create waves by wishing for them, but you are the ocean, and the waves arise from what you are. The field of infinite possibility that quantum mechanics found beneath the surface of matter, the field that the ancient traditions called Brahman, or the Tao, or the Ein Sof, or the All, is not separate from your awareness. Your awareness is not a thing that exists inside the field and peers at it from a distance. Your awareness is an expression of the field, a localized focusing of the infinite into a specific perspective. And the perspective you hold, the layer of reality you are aware of, the depth at which you are operating, determines what becomes real for you. This is not metaphor. This is the implication of the physics. And it is the direct experience of every contemplative tradition that has gone deep enough to reach this layer. But there is a layer beneath even that. And this is the one that most people, even those who have gone quite deep, stop just short of. Because this layer requires something that the surface self is not equipped to handle. It requires a recognition that the thing doing the seeking is the thing being sought. The awareness that is looking for the deeper layer of reality is itself the deepest layer of reality. You are not separate from what you are looking for. The veil you are trying to lift is not between you and something outside you. The veil is between the surface version of you and the depth of what you already are. The infinite field of possibility is not somewhere else. It is what you are made of. It is what you are. And the moment that recognition lands, not as an idea but as a direct experience, is the moment the surface story loses its grip completely. Let me show you how this works in practice, not as a philosophical exercise, but as something you can actually do right now, in this moment, wherever you are listening to this. Take a breath. Not a dramatic breath, just a breath. And as you breathe, turn your attention not outward toward the world, not inward toward your thoughts, but to the awareness itself. The thing that is aware of the breath. Not the breath, the awareness of the breath. Notice that the awareness is already there. You did not create it just now. You did not summon it. It was already present, already aware, before you turned your attention to it. It has been present your entire life, through every experience, every thought, every feeling, every moment of confusion and clarity and joy and pain. The awareness itself has been the constant, the unchanging background against which everything else has moved. This awareness, this constant, unchanging, already present awareness, is the deepest layer you have access to right now, and it is the layer from which the surface world arises. The thoughts arise in it, the perceptions arise in it, the sense of being a separate self with a name and a history arises in it. But the awareness itself does not arise in anything. It is the ground. It is the field. It is the thing that quantum mechanics is pointing toward when it says that observation is what collapses the wave function from possibility into reality. You are the observer, not the surface you, not the constructed self with the name and the history. The awareness itself, the thing that is receiving these words right now, the thing that knows it is receiving these words. That knowing, that awareness, that presence is the deepest layer you are, and it is the layer that is not separate from the field of infinite possibility that underlies all of reality. This is where the ancient wisdom and the quantum physics converge. This is the hidden layer beneath both of them. The experiential recognition that awareness and reality are not two separate things, that you are not inside the universe looking out. You are the universe looking at itself from a specific perspective. And the perspective you hold determines the layer of reality that becomes visible to you. Now let us talk about what it means to have seen through the illusion. Because this is where your experience, the experience that brought you here, the thing that cracked the surface for you, becomes not a problem to be solved, but a gift to be understood. When people say they have seen through the illusion, they often mean something that happened suddenly and without warning. A moment when the surface reality, the solid, fixed, predictable world that everyone around them was treating as absolute, suddenly became transparent. When the seams showed, when the story broke down, when the thing that was supposed to be bedrock revealed itself to be a very thin layer stretched over something else. This experience has many names. Spiritual traditions call it awakening, or enlightenment, or satori, or gnosis. Psychology calls it a peak experience, or a depersonalization episode, or an ego dissolution. Quantum physicists might call it a direct perception of the underlying field. But what it actually is, stripped of all the labels, is a moment when the surface gave way and you fell, briefly, into the depth beneath it. And then, for most people, something strange happens. The surface reassembles, the solid world comes back, the thoughts return, the name and the history and the habits and the fears reconstitute themselves, and you are left standing in the surface reality again, but now with the memory of having seen beneath it. And the surface never looks quite the same again. This is exactly where you are. And it is not a problem. It is not a malfunction. It is not a sign that the experience was not real, or that you have lost it, or that you need to get back to something. It is the normal, expected, completely understandable experience of someone who has seen through one layer of the veil and is now learning to live with the knowledge of what is beneath it. The surface is not your enemy. The surface is where you live. The surface is where you eat and sleep and work and love and navigate the practical requirements of an embodied existence. The surface is not the illusion in the sense of being false. It is the illusion in the sense of being incomplete. It is real at the level it operates at. It is just not the deepest level of what is real. The work, and it is work, the genuine, ongoing, sometimes uncomfortable work of someone who has seen through the illusion, is not to escape the surface. It is to learn to live on the surface, with full awareness of the depth beneath it. To navigate the solid world with the knowledge that the solidity is a surface expression of something fluid and infinite and responsive. To engage with the fixed world with the understanding that the fixedness is a collective agreement, not a fundamental truth. This is what the traditions call integration, and it is, in some ways, harder than the initial seeing through. Because the seeing through is something that happens to you. The integration is something you have to do. But there is a layer beneath even the integration. And it is the most practical and the most profound layer of all. Because when you truly integrate the knowledge of the depth beneath the surface, when you learn to hold both the surface reality and the quantum depth simultaneously, something begins to change in the way reality responds to you. This is the layer that most people who have glimpsed the depth never quite reach. Because they do one of two things. Either they retreat back to the surface entirely, deciding that the glimpse was an anomaly, a temporary departure from the real world, and they resume their life on the surface as if nothing happened, only now with a vague sense of loss. Or they retreat from the surface entirely, deciding that the depth is the only real thing and the surface is an enemy to be escaped, and they spend their time in spiritual practice or philosophical contemplation, while the practical surface of their life deteriorates. The third path, the path that the deepest wisdom traditions actually point to, is neither of these. It is the path of someone who has descended to the depth and returned to the surface, with the depth still present in their awareness, who navigates the surface world with full engagement and full competence, but who does so from a position of knowing what is beneath it, who allows the awareness of the depth to change the way they move through the surface, not by withdrawing from the surface, but by bringing the depth to the surface, by being, in every ordinary moment, someone who sees the quantum field beneath the solid world, the infinite possibility beneath the fixed circumstance, the ocean beneath the wave. This is what it means to be what some traditions call an awakened being, not someone who has escaped the surface, someone who has learned to see through it without leaving it. And here is the layer beneath that, the one that is hidden in plain sight, within everything we have covered so far. The reason you are here, the reason you are watching this, the reason something in you responded to the title and the thumbnail and the suggestion that nothing is real anymore, is not because you are confused or lost or broken. It is because you are ready to stop living at the surface of your own experience, ready to stop accepting the surface story of reality as the whole truth, ready to begin the descent into the depth that has always been beneath everything you have ever known. The fact that you have seen through the illusion, even partially, even briefly, even in a way that left you more disoriented than enlightened, is not a problem. It is a qualification. It is the thing that makes you capable of going deeper, because you cannot descend to the depth from a position of absolute certainty about the surface. The surface has to crack first, and for you, it already has. This is the layer that changes how you understand your own experience. The disorientation is not a symptom, it is a sign. The sense that nothing is real anymore is not a crisis. It is the first accurate perception you have had of the nature of reality. The world you thought was real, the solid, fixed, independent world of the surface story, was never fully real in the way you believed it was, and now you know that. And knowing it feels strange and destabilizing, because the surface story was your home, and homes that reveal themselves to be thinner than you thought are disorienting to live in. But there is a new home available. It is not on the surface. It is in the depth. And the depth is not a place you have to travel to. It is the layer beneath every surface you have ever stood on. It was always there. You just had not looked down yet. Let me tell you about a woman named Mara. Mara had spent her entire life being told she was too sensitive, too affected by things that did not seem to affect other people in the same way. She felt the weight of rooms before she entered them. She knew things about people that she had not been told. She had experiences that she could not explain, and that, when she tried to describe them to others, were met with the kind of patient, slightly uncomfortable smile that people give to someone who is saying something they cannot follow. She learned to distrust herself. She learned to translate her perceptions into the language of the surface world, to explain the feeling in a room as her own anxiety, to explain the knowing about a person as good intuition, to explain the inexplicable experiences as coincidence, or the pattern-seeking tendency of an overactive mind. She became, on the surface, a very successful person, competent, rational, effective. Someone who had learned to navigate the surface world with precision and had buried the deeper perceptions so thoroughly that she had almost forgotten they were there. And then her surface world collapsed, not gradually, all at once, the way surfaces sometimes do when the depth beneath them can no longer support the weight. And in the wreckage of the surface, in the strange, disorienting, groundless space of having nothing left to stand on, the deeper perceptions came back, not as a comfort, as an overwhelming flood. Everything she had suppressed, everything she had translated into surface language, everything she had explained away, came back at full intensity. She thought she was losing her mind. The surface story of what was happening to her was a breakdown, a crisis, a malfunction of the psychological machinery. But beneath that story, something else was happening. The deeper perceptions that she had spent years suppressing were not symptoms of disorder. They were the return of a capacity she had always had and had been conditioned to distrust. The sensitivity that had always been called too much was not too much. It was the ability to perceive layers of reality that most people, through conditioning, had learned to filter out. The collapse of her surface world was not a disaster. It was an excavation. The surface had to come down for the depth to be accessible, and what was in the depth was not the chaos she feared. It was the clarity she had always been capable of, but had never been given permission to trust. Mara spent the next years learning to live at a different depth. Not on the surface she had built and lost, not in the chaotic flood of unfiltered perception, but in the layer where both were integrated, where the surface world was navigated with full competence and the deeper perceptions were trusted as information rather than symptoms, where the sensitivity that had always been her deepest nature became the most precise instrument she had for understanding reality. She did not become someone who rejected the surface world. She became someone who could see through it without leaving it, someone who navigated the ordinary world with the full knowledge of the extraordinary depth beneath it, and the things that had made her feel broken on the surface, the perceptions that did not fit the surface story, the knowing that could not be explained in surface terms, became, At the depth level, the most accurate information she had access to. You have been called too sensitive, or too intense, or too much, or not enough. You have been given a surface-level explanation for your deepest nature that made your deepest nature seem like a problem. But the depth tells you something completely different. The sensitivity, the intensity, the perceptions that do not fit the surface story are not malfunctions. They are the signs of someone who is already operating at a deeper layer than the surface story can account for. That is not a problem. That is the qualification. Is there a truth that was hidden in plain sight for you until the moment you were finally ready to see it? Something you always sensed beneath the surface but could not put into words until now. Tell us in the comments, because what you name there, others are still searching for a way to say. Now let us go to the deepest layer we can reach in this transmission. The one that is beneath the quantum mechanics and the ancient wisdom and the parable and the practice. The one that is, in some ways, the simplest and in other ways the most radical thing that can be said about the nature of reality. Reality is not something that happens to you. Reality is something that you participate in creating, not through the mechanism of positive thinking or the surface-level version of the law of attraction that reduces a profound truth to a vending machine metaphor, but through something much more fundamental, through the depth of what you are and the layer of reality you are aware of. Here is how this works, and here is the layer beneath the explanation you may have already encountered. The surface version of manifestation, the version that most people encounter when they first start looking beneath the surface of the mainstream story, says, think positive thoughts, visualize what you want, feel as if you already have it, and the universe will deliver it. This is not wrong, but it is the surface layer of a much deeper truth. The deeper layer says, the field of infinite possibility that underlies all of reality is not a catalogue from which you select items by thinking about them. It is a field that responds to the depth of your awareness, to the layer of reality you are actually operating from. Not the layer you are thinking about, but the layer you are being. There is a difference between thinking about the depth and being at the depth. Thinking about it is still a surface activity. You are on the surface, thinking thoughts about the depth, and those thoughts are still surface-level events. Being at the depth means that your awareness has actually descended, that you are operating from the layer where the quantum field is not a concept but a direct perception, where the infinite possibility is not a belief but a felt reality, where you are not trying to access something outside yourself but recognizing something that is already what you are. From that depth, the way reality responds to you changes, not because you have learned a technique, but because you have changed the layer from which you are engaging with reality. And reality, which is a field of infinite possibility that responds to the depth of the awareness that observes it, responds differently to a deeper observer. This is what the mystics meant when they said that the awakened being lives in a different world than the sleeping being, even though they walk the same streets and breathe the same air. They are not in a different place. They are at a different depth. And the depth at which you engage with reality determines what reality reveals to you. The surface dweller lives in a world of fixed objects and predictable outcomes and limited possibilities, not because that is what the world is, but because that is the layer of the world they are aware of. The depth dweller lives in the same physical world and also lives in a world of fluid possibility and responsive circumstances and synchronicities that seem, from the surface, like coincidences, but are, from the depth, the natural behavior of a reality that is responsive to awareness. Both are real. Both are accurate perceptions of the layer being perceived. The surface dweller is not wrong about the surface. The depth dweller is not hallucinating the depth. They are both accurate. The difference is the depth of the layer being perceived, and you have begun to perceive the depth, which means you have begun to live in a reality that is more responsive, more fluid, more alive with possibility than the surface version. Not because you have acquired a power, but because you have begun to see what was always there. Here is the practice for this layer, and it is not a meditation technique. It is a perceptual shift that you can apply to any moment of any day. The next time you find yourself in a circumstance that feels fixed, that feels like a solid wall of limitation or difficulty or impossibility, do not try to think your way around it. Do not try to visualize a different outcome. Instead, drop beneath it. Literally, in your awareness, in your felt sense of where you are, drop below the surface of the circumstance, beneath the story of what is happening, beneath the thoughts about the situation, beneath the emotions that the situation is generating. Drop to the layer where the circumstance is not yet fixed, where it is still a field of possibility that has not yet resolved into a definite outcome. This is not denial. You are not pretending the circumstance does not exist. You are perceiving it from a deeper layer, from the layer where the quantum field is still open, where the wave function has not yet collapsed, where the infinite is still available beneath the specific. And from that layer, ask, not what do I want to happen, but what is possible here that I cannot see from the surface. Not because you are trying to manipulate an outcome, but because you are genuinely curious about what the depth contains that the surface is concealing. This is the practice of the depth dweller, not escaping the surface, descending beneath it, in awareness, while remaining fully present to it, and allowing the depth to inform the surface, allowing the field of infinite possibility to reveal something that the fixed surface story was hiding. This is what it means to see through the illusion without leaving it, to live at the surface with the full knowledge of the depth, to be, in every ordinary moment, someone who knows that what is visible is the thinnest layer of what exists. And now, a question for you, a genuine question, not a rhetorical device. What was the moment? What was the crack in the pavement? What was the thing that happened, or the thing you saw, or the thing you felt, that first showed you the void beneath the surface of reality? What was your Elias moment? What was the thing that made you climb down? Because I want to know, and I want you to know, because the moment you can identify it precisely, the moment you can name the exact thing that cracked the surface for you, is the moment you stop experiencing it as something that happened to you and start experiencing it as something that happened for you, as the specific, personal, precisely calibrated event that your awareness required in order to begin the descent. Drop it in the comments, not the whole story, just the essence. One sentence. What was the moment the surface cracked? What was the first thing you saw beneath it? Share it with the people who are watching this alongside you, because they need to know they are not alone in this, and you need to know that what happened to you was not an accident. It was an initiation. Type it below, and read what others have written. Because in this community of depth seekers, you will find people who saw the same hidden layer you saw, who felt the same disorientation, who are navigating the same integration. And there is something that happens when depth seekers find each other, something that the surface world does not have a name for. A resonance, a recognition, the feeling of finally being understood at the layer you actually exist at. Now let us bring all the layers together, because this is the integration. This is the moment where everything we have descended through becomes a single, unified, livable understanding. The surface world is real. The quantum depth beneath it is real. The ancient wisdom that mapped the depth before science found it is real. The awareness that is the observer at the center of the quantum collapse is real. The infinite field of possibility that underlies all of manifest reality is real. And you, the awareness that is receiving these words right now, the thing that knows it is receiving these words, is real in the deepest possible sense. Real not as a surface object in a fixed world. Real as an expression of the infinite field. Real as a localized focusing of the awareness that the universe requires in order to become definite at all. You are not a passenger in reality. You are a participant in its creation. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are an observer whose depth of awareness determines what circumstances become definite. You are not someone who has seen through the illusion and lost their footing. You are someone who has descended to a deeper layer and is learning to live from that depth without abandoning the surface. And the disorientation you feel, the sense that nothing is real anymore, the inability to go back to treating the surface as the whole truth, is not a problem to be solved. It is a perception to be deepened, because the answer to the disorientation is not to return to the surface and pretend you did not see what you saw. The answer is to go deeper, to descend further, to find the layer beneath the disorientation where the depth itself is stable, where the infinite field is not frightening but familiar, where the dissolution of the surface story reveals not chaos, but the extraordinary, responsive, alive, participatory reality that was always beneath it. This is the integration principle. Not that you have to choose between the surface and the depth, but that you learn to hold both, to walk the surface world with the full awareness of the depth beneath it, to navigate the fixed world from the layer where nothing is fixed, to live the ordinary life from the extraordinary depth that makes the ordinary life possible. And here is the final layer, the one that was hidden in plain sight beneath everything else, The chosen one is not a special category of person. It is not an elite. It is not a title bestowed by external authority. The chosen one is simply the one who chooses to look. The one who, when the surface cracks, chooses to look down rather than look away. The one who, when the depth reveals itself, chooses to descend rather than retreat. The one who, when the integration becomes difficult, chooses to stay in the depth rather than return to the comfortable numbness of the surface. You are here. You chose to look. You chose to descend. You chose to stay in the discomfort of knowing that the surface is not the whole truth, rather than retreating to the comfort of pretending it is. That is the choosing, and it is the only choosing that matters. The traditions that spoke of chosen ones were not describing people who were selected by an external force and given special powers that others did not have. They were describing people who had chosen to see, who had chosen to look beneath the surface of reality and keep looking, layer by layer, deeper and deeper, until they reached the layer where the seeing itself was the power, where the awareness that could perceive the depth was the most transformative force available to a human being. You are that, not because you are special in a way that others are not, but because you chose to look when most people look away, because the surface cracked for you and you looked down rather than up, because something in you, some deep instinct, some ancient knowing, some quantum entanglement with the truth of what you are, refused to accept the surface story as the whole truth. And now you cannot go back. Not really, not fully. The surface will still be there, you will still navigate it, but you will never again mistake it for the floor. You will never again treat the thinnest layer of reality as if it were the deepest. You will never again be fully asleep to the extraordinary depth that was always beneath everything you were looking at. The veil is thinner than you think, and now you can see through it. Not because someone gave you the ability, because you always had it. Because the awareness that can see through the veil is not something you acquired. It is what you are. It has always been what you are. The only thing that changed is that now you know it, and what has been revealed cannot be re-hidden. You are no longer a surface dweller. You see the depth now. You feel it beneath every solid thing. You know it is there beneath every fixed circumstance, every closed door, every apparently unchangeable fact about the world you are navigating. And from that knowing, from that depth, from that layer where the quantum field is not a concept but a living reality, from that place where the ancient wisdom and the modern physics converge on the same impossible and liberating truth, you move differently. You perceive differently. You engage with reality differently. Not because you have escaped the surface, but because you have found the depth beneath it. And you carry that depth with you now, into every ordinary moment, into every surface interaction, into every circumstance that appears fixed and closed and final, because you know what is beneath it. You know that beneath the fixed is the fluid, beneath the closed is the open, beneath the final is the infinite. And the infinite is not somewhere else, It is what you are. Welcome to what was always beneath everything. This is Quantum Veil. And if this transmission reached a layer in you that you want to go deeper into, if something we uncovered here cracked a surface you had not known was a surface, then stay. Because there is always another layer. There is always something beneath the thing we just lifted, and we go deeper every time. If you know someone who is standing at the threshold right now, someone who has felt the surface thinning but has not yet found the words for what is beneath it, send them this video. Because sharing it does not simply pass along content. It gives someone access to a layer they were already sensing but could not reach alone, and that act of transmission creates a shared depth between two awareness fields that neither could have opened from the surface by themselves. And if this transmission moved through you in a way you want to return to, come back to it in a quiet moment, before sleep, or in the stillness of early morning, when the surface noise is lowest and the deeper layers are most accessible. The words will land differently each time because you will be listening from a deeper place. Subscribe, not because you need more content, but because you are someone who does not stop at the surface. And this is the place for people who keep going, who keep descending, who keep lifting the veil layer by layer until they reach the layer that was always there, waiting beneath everything they thought they knew. The depth is not a destination, it is a direction, and you are already moving in it. Keep going, and when you are ready to go one layer deeper into what underlies all of this, the video on the 0 point field is exactly where that descent continues. That transmission goes beneath the quantum level itself, into the hidden field that physicists and mystics both point toward as the source from which reality generates itself. That is the next layer down,